Last call, everybody. Ding, ding. 1 hour till kickoff. It's Sunday, September the 29th, noon Eastern, live here on WagerTalk TV. This is NFL Last Call. We did Saturday football at 11 a.m. We do NFL at 12 p.m. on Sunday. And I am Steve Merril, filling in for Kelly Stewart. She'll be back next week. She is on assignment. And let's get right to it. We're going to start off with a great segment if you want some inside information. And we're going to bring in Chase Michaelson from the WestGate Risk Supervisor. And, I always say inside information is a vastly overused term in this industry, and I think a lot of people use it the wrong way, Chase. But this is truly inside information because you're on the inside of the sports book here on NFL Sunday, and you have the numbers to back up what you're about to tell us. So let's get right to it. What kind of action have you seen right now near kickoff over the last couple hours here on Sunday morning?
Yeah, people always think that we're going to lie on these shows. Like, we don't have time.
You're going to give us the wrong side, Chase.
Yeah, I don't. That just seems silly. We've taken a lot of action on the Jets throughout the course of the week. That's been a lot of sharp action, a lot of public action. So we're definitely going to need Denver. I think that's probably our biggest need of the day. At the moment, right now, that's at 8. We've taken money at 7, 7.5. We've gotten some back on Denver, but certainly will be something we need. We've seen plenty of action on Cleveland as well. We'll definitely need the Raiders. Looking for a big Raider home win. Didn't get that last week at all. That was not a good performance, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But that's what we'll need. That's what we'll need this week. And then we'll probably need the Bills as well.
Well, Chase, you can fiddle with your camera here, and I'm going to ask you a question. It's interesting that the Browns are getting some action because, as you know, the Browns are in Las Vegas this week. And I got to ask you, is this something you've seen the last couple of seasons when a team is coming in? Do they get a little bit more action? I mean, are there a lot of loyal Raider backers in town, or is that visiting squad? Carolina probably was not a good case study last week. But in general, though, is that something we see more times than not, that the visiting team in Vegas gets action like that?
Certainly possible with a big fan base like the Browns. That plays a role, I think. I don't know if that's the biggest factor. I think you see that more when it's like the massive, when it's the Bears or the Giants or something like that. You'll see that more. Browns certainly have a big fan base, but I don't know if that's the main factor here. And this camera's getting me in trouble. That's a factor, but I don't think that's the main one.
And this is for our producer, Joe Ranieri, but I got to ask, with the camera difficulties, are you related to Tony Finn? That's an inside joke. Nobody else will get that but Joe, but it's a good joke, Chase. If you go back and watch WagerTalk from about 3 years ago, Tony Finn changes heights every couple segments with his camera. So don't feel bad. It's happened before.
I'd love a change in height. If we could get some sort of way to make me like 6'2", 6'3", I'll take it.
So I've actually changed height in my adult years, but I've shrunk 1.5 inches. So unfortunately, I don't have the solution going in the other direction, and I think that happens to a lot of us. Hey, speaking of height, NBA basketball right around the corner. Looking forward to talking maybe with you about a month or so about basketball. I think October 22nd is that start. But once again, this is NFL Sunday, so we'll stay focused here on the NFL. Sharp square divides. You mentioned how the Jets are getting both public and sharp money. And, getting back to the Browns, too, obviously the visiting fans might bet, but those are $20, $50 bets. The big sharp bets are what moves it, so it really doesn't matter what team is in town, probably. Do you see any games in which you have a sharp square divide, maybe public on one side, but some heavy respected money coming on the other one this week?
We've seen that to a degree on this Houston-Jacksonville game, which I think makes sense. If you anybody that watched Monday night is probably not going to be cutting in line to bet Jacksonville, your average bettor. So that's where that comes from. And then we've also had a lot of sharp money on Jacksonville at 7 and some at 6.5, because those are the type of teams that our sharper customers love. They love bad teams.
Yeah, Big Daddy, one of our loyal viewers here on WagerTalk TV, says Cleveland should never be favored against the Raiders. Charles Catton and Daddy, what do you guys think about the Vikings game? So I'll throw that one to you. Obviously, Jordan Love practiced last week, did not play. He practiced again this week. How difficult has that been for you just in general, I guess, with the Packers the last couple of weeks setting lines, especially when it's around a key number like 3?
Yeah, this week we felt pretty confident he was going to play. I think kind of reading the tea
Right.
leaves from last week, it felt like he was 1 week away. I mean, Green Bay the last 2 weeks have been dogs, and they've won with ease with Malik Willis.
Yeah.
But right now that Green Bay, like you said, it's close to 3. We're at 2.5 with some Green Bay juice right now, and I think that speaks to how well Minnesota's played and how respected Minnesota is. We haven't had the sharps cutting in line to bet this game, really, which I think says either we have a good line or maybe they weren't getting the information that they wanted, because we didn't see this big jump. We flirted with 3 for a little bit when the Love news officially came out, but it's settled here with 2.5 juice. And I think that probably tells you that most of the market expected Love to play, I think. So we haven't had the big change that you might associate with quarterback in-out news.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with him practicing last week and then practicing this week, it seemed pretty obvious to me. They were kind of doing a head fake maybe last week and getting him ready for the Viking game all along. Hey, sticking with the 2.5 and juice, I want to bring up a general question for you. 3 is such a key number, and anybody that's new to sports betting has to understand that football, unlike basketball, has key margins. 3 and 7 are great examples. 3 is the king of all. What as a risk supervisor, what is the mindset there going to 2 minus 15, 2 minus 20? When do you go to 3 even, like some other books do have right now? How does that work, especially in the NFL?
It's obviously case by case, but a lot of it comes down to basically, do we think that if we went to 3, would we get just an avalanche of sharps on the other side? And a lot of times that's what keeps us there, because you'll see, like when I first started doing this, we would go to 3, and then you just it's like the ticker just lights up, and you're like, all right, well, we made a mistake. Like, the market will tell you where you need to be in a lot of ways, and we felt like in this case that going to 3 would invite that. You'll see that, like you said, around the key numbers. If you get there and the market doesn't like it, they will play it back, and it's immediate, like within a minute. So that's what will keep you below those numbers. That's what keeps you at 2.5 juice, 6.5, those kinds of numbers. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to is what do we think we can get away with? And in the modern environment, with obviously phone bets and everything like that, it used to be all counter business, so it's different. But in the modern environment, if you get to a number where the sharps will bet the dog, they will bet it, and they will bet it for a lot of money in a short amount of time. And because 3 is such a key number, and the reason we say it's a key number means so many games land on that number.
Right.
If you're having people bet +3 and you had people laying 2.5 and then it lands 3, you pay the 2.5 customers, refund the +3 customers. That's usually not a good day for the book. Like Thursday was really bad because we got middled. We had people who laid 4.5 with Dallas.
Yeah, right. 5 is an unusual landing number.
And we paid all of those customers, which is bad. So I thought it was funny when people said that Vegas rigged the field goal for Aubrey to miss it, when we were rooting hard for him to make that field goal. And then he missed, and we were sad. But then people who bet into the closing number said that we had rigged it, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said at the start, right? You're not going to give us the correct side. You're going to give us the opposite side of all the winners.
Right,
and once again, Vegas,
everything I'm telling you is just a complete lie. Yes.
But you want balanced action, and that goes back to what you're saying about 2.5 and 3. You don't want to get one sided in one game or the other, and you didn't care who won that Giants-Cowboys game. You just didn't want Dallas to win by 5. That was the worst case scenario.
That was really our worst case scenario. Yeah.
Chase, I'm going to let you run because I know it's a busy Sunday there at the WestGate in Las Vegas, and let us know also. I know the WestGate has, reduced juice earlier in the week, but what else do you have going on not only on Sunday but all week long at the Superbook?
Yeah, so we're at 08 lines. So that's kind of one of our main things here. 08 on the NFL, 09 on college, and then on select games, probably later in the day, we'll go to a 10-cent line like on Bills Ravens. And that's kind of something that we'll do. So we'll go to 05 on the bigger games, let people come in and bet whatever side they want. We want to be the place that they are most inclined to do it because they're paying the least for it. It's kind of like a Walmart everyday low prices.
Yeah, once again, it's a great location to watch the game as well. Huge. It's called the Superbook for a reason. And if you ever get to see Chase there, make sure you tell Chase Michaelson you saw him here on Wager Talk TV. And of course, he's there with Arthur DeCesar, who we have on during the week as well. And Arthur was actually on yesterday on Saturday on Last Call for College Football. Chase, I'll let you run. Busy NFL Sunday. Thank you so much for giving us some inside look at the betting lines at the WestGate Superbook in Las Vegas, Nevada. All right, let's turn to another guy in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ace, Vegas runner, VR, Gianni the Greek. You know he's sharp when he's got numerous names, and he's got some information for us as well. And Greek, I enjoyed your segment yesterday on Saturday in college football. NFL's the king, though, right? A little bit of a smaller board, but still a lot of action. What are you looking at? I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, obviously, I always work the Wong teasers. They went 3-2 in week 1. They went 4-2 in week 2. I blindly bet them. I think anybody that has some capital on the side that's just going to invest in Wong teasers, I do think it's good. If you're able to get minus 120, you're almost a mathematical certainty to turn a profit. If you're able to get 130, I would probably stay away unless I was very, very disciplined, meaning I was going to have the bankroll also to do the entire year to hopefully have a big enough sample size to get a profit out of that, slim 1% if you're lucky. But if not getting 120, I probably would not mess with those. We've taken advantage of a lot of team totals. That's where it seems like the most value is for the betting syndicates when it comes to the NFL. So let me give you some of these team totals. Falcons, under 21.5 team total. Panthers, under 21.5 team total. Jets, under 24 team total. Eagles, under 21.5 team total. Washington, over 22 team total. And Ravens, under 24.5 team total. Now, both the Jets and the Ravens, not only did they bet the team total under for the full game, but then we came back and bet the first half team total under also. Going under 13.5 first in the Jets and under 13 in the Ravens as well. So those are some of the team totals that we did take advantage of. Sharper totals under Saints Falcons, but that value's been extracted. The look ahead was 46. I know guys that did get some 45, 44 tickets in their pockets, but down at 41, 41.5, 42, I just think most of the value's been extracted. Panthers and Bengals also seeing over sharp money, and Browns Raiders under sharp money. Not surprising. A couple sides that I could isolate for you real quickly. The Bears. Bears got hit multiple times. Not only are the Bears getting hit, on the minus the 3, minus 2.5, they were getting hit. They're getting the money line down as well. So it's almost like not getting it past that key number of 3. So instead, let's bet them other ways. And you're seeing almost no resistance to that. So I think that the Bears team is as legit as it comes. The Buccaneers against the Eagles, they got bet taking the points and with the money line. And there was no take back where they could get both. Like sometimes there's a situation where you get both teams on the money line at plus. That wasn't the case here. So legit on the Buccaneers, the 49ers minus double digits, and the Kansas City Chiefs at that key number of 7. That's why you're seeing it through the 7 now. Real quickly, Monday Night Football, two-way sharp action. We've been seeing it all week on Seattle and on the Lions. We have two respected groups, and that's why you've seen that line go back and forth. Both probably made a decent bet at a different number, but that's what's pretty much going on in NFL that I can tell you from the sharp side.
Gianni, I love it. And I want to follow up with the Wong teaser. And we also have a question, I believe, from one of the viewers Joe will throw up in a moment. But maybe, I guess, first of all, let's break it down for the new sports bettors, right? We got a lot of new recreational players. Maybe just to give them a quick, case study about, we just talked about key numbers, by the way, with Chase. And obviously 3 and 7, I mentioned Wong teasers kind of all about covering 3 and 7, correct?
Yes, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You want to take you want to use those 6 points to go through the numbers 3, 6, 7. That's all you're looking to do. It doesn't matter what the teams are. You are teasing numbers to make the bet advantageous. Now, if you're able to tease those numbers, plus 1.5, plus 2, plus 2.5, or minus 7.5, 8, or 8.5. Those are the numbers we're looking to tease. If you're able to tease them, and if let's say you were able to get a bookie that gave you even money on those 6-point teasers, your edge would be, you would have about, your break even would be 70.5%.
Right.
But your win rate would be about 76% at even money. So you'd have over a 5% edge. You'd be printing money if you could get even money. Most of us can't get even money no more. Most of us can't even get minus 110 anymore. But if you're able to get minus 120 even, which if you shop around, you could get minus 120 on a 6-point teaser. I got about 4 books that I easily could get them on. Your break even is 74%. The Wong teaser allows you to win a little bit, slightly over 76%. So you will be profiting 2% every single bet you make long term. That's your EV. So if we remember the MIT card counting group that they wrote books about, made movies about, their edge was about 1.5%. Maybe 2. They bragged about a 2.5% edge. I could promise you they didn't have it. They had maybe a 2% edge. That's what you have with this Wong teaser. Nobody's going to make movies about you. Nobody's going to write books about you, but you could print money every single year in the NFL if you don't even care about the teams and you just tease through those numbers. Don't lay more than minus 120 or else you're not betting from a position of strength, and that's all you want to do. And if you do it, you're going to make money, man. You're going to definitely make money. But stay away from all those other teasers, the 10 points. It doesn't help you. The average NFL final score ends 10 points off the point spread. So we all talk about, oh, Vegas, how did they know? How did they know when it lands right on the number? But the average NFL game lands 10 points off the number. That's why the 6-point teaser, 6.5-point teaser, 7-point teaser will not help you unless you're only teasing through 3, 6, and 7. That's where the advantage comes from, not from the teams, not from the matchup, not from the handicap, simply from the math. That's where you're able to take advantage of them when it comes to the Wong teasers.
Yeah, Gianni, you and I think alike in so many ways. And it's so funny. When he first started talking teasers, the first thing I thought about was blackjack and some of the card counting stories we've talked about. Because once again, you just set it and forget it. You don't care what team you're playing. You just care about the numbers and you're just playing it over. But you also dated me as well, because when I started back 29 seasons ago in 1996, I thought teasers were even money. And it's been so long, I can't remember. And the reason, of course, is because teasers are sucker bets in every other sport and at every other number, basically. And until the market got as sharp as it is now, they were winning enough from the Joes to give it back to the pros with the even money, the minus 110. But it's a real dilemma for sports books because teasers are basically parlays, which are terrible bets in general, except in certain situations. By the way, real quick, also, we don't tease college football because the lines aren't as sharp and the totals are higher. And something I want to mention is there are certain 2.5s and 7.5s that are more valuable when it's a 30-point over-under versus a 50-point over-under. The points are more of a premium. There's less scoring. And NFL lines, once again, are sharp. But we never do college, and we definitely don't do basketball, correct?
Absolutely. Because it's too volatile of a sport. The scoring is too volatile. So there's just the getting those extra points just isn't going to help you when the variance in finals is so great. Like that's where like you nailed it when you said each half point matters more when less points are expected to be scored. Right. When I'm expected to see 200 points scored, 5 points don't matter. But if I expect 30 points to be scored, 5 points matter a lot. Like that could be the difference maker. So that's what I focus on when it comes to the NFL. I look for those games, even that I handicap to go lower scoring. But usually I just use the market as a guideline. If the market thinks the total's low, then I think my teaser's worth a lot more. If the total's high, then my teaser's worth the points matter less. Being able to get extra points matter less. And when you're talking basketball and they're scoring 200 points, getting 3-4 points is not going to be the difference maker. Definitely not long term. If you need those 4 points to help you, it's almost like buying points, Steve. I don't want to take up more time, but I see it all the time. I see these bets in the back end every Sunday, so I have to share this with you. I see guys that are buying 2 points. So here's what they're doing. They're taking a minus 4.5, all right, or minus. They're doing even minus 6.5s. And down the 4.5s, and they're laying minus 150. So if they took a step back, these are reasonable people. I'm sure a lot of them are a lot more educated than myself. But here's what they're saying by buying those 2 points. They're saying that at minus 6.5, minus 110, which we know the break even is 52.5%. They're saying that at minus 6.5, they don't believe that there's a 53% chance that covers. But they believe at minus 4.5, there's a 60% chance of him, greater than 60% chance of it covering. In what planet does that make sense? Where at minus 4.5, you believe the probability is greater than 6.5, 60%, but just 2 points higher, you think the probability isn't even 53%? It isn't logical. That's just to make yourself feel better. That I'm not laying 6.5, I'm laying 4.5. No, you're not. You're laying 6.5. Your ticket just says 4.5. But that number next to it, the minus 150, the minus 160, that means you're laying 6.5 or 7, brother. You're not getting a better number. That's where I'm seeing the most mistakes being made, Steve. When guys miss the number and they think I could still get that number, all I have to do is buy it. If you're buying it and paying more than you should, you are not getting that number. You just think you are, but you're not. It's all math, man. If you don't know what a half point's worth, don't ever buy one. That's what I always say. If you know what every half point is worth, then you know what to do. But if you can't tell me what moving from 12 to 12.5 should cost, don't buy it. Don't ever buy it.
What 1,000% correct. In fact, I did my Fade the Public video this week. The most public play is the Bengals. And I had someone in the chat last night say, I bought the Bengals down to -3, -150. So I was dying when you just gave that example, because that's exactly the example I just commented on last night.
He doesn't have -3. He don't have -3. He's got like -4.5 probably.
Right. Yeah. And it's just, and you also hit the nail on the head when you were talking about every half point matters, but the sports books know this as well. And that's why they're making you pay more than the value is. They're not going to let you buy a half point at a discount. It just doesn't make sense. So if they're letting you do it, you should run, not walk.
Exactly. It's just like the limits. The limits tell you where they're stronger and where they're weakest. There's a reason they only take $500 on a college basketball over-under when it's Western Michigan versus Wisconsin, Milwaukee, but they'll take $50,000 on an NFL total, on an NBA.
Or a team total. You're talking a lot about team totals, right? Yeah.
They don't want
the team totals are getting hit on.
Yeah.
And they move the lines quicker.
If they don't want to take a bet on it, they're not too confident. You know, but you see in the NFL, everyone wants sides and totals, and they're the hardest to beat.
1,000% correct. Once again, I've said that all the time. People say, what sports are easiest or what sport is the best to make money? And I go, look at the limits, and that'll tell you all you need to know where the sports books are nervous. And if you're a new capper out there, do you want to specialize? I know the NFL is sexy, but college hoops is around the corner. NBA is around the corner. Baseball as well. I mean, those are the sports where you can really make some money. And you have more volume. You have 17 NFL games. You have 82. You have 162 baseball games. So there's a lot more volume there as well. Gianni, I'll let you run. We see you each week here on Wager Talk today on, I believe, the Friday show normally. And also get you on Saturdays. Yeah. And what else you got going on at WagerTalk.com?
Yeah, keep crushing, brother. I'm over in the steam room right now. We're going over each and every NFL game. We're down to we're doing Bears Rams next. So I like it because I'm able to answer any questions that someone may have about a bet that they want to make. And where I'm able to share those props even that come in. So we got the steam room going, having a really good week, picked up over 35 units. I am having a losing year, won 8 of the last 9. So I got about 2.5 months, Steve, to turn this into a profitable year. But we are getting back in shape. And of course, my MMA's just been on fire. So all's good over here. And again, I appreciate your support. Thank you for having me on. And I just hope you guys crush it today in the NFL, brother.
All right, my man. Good luck. And once again, get back over to the steam room. When you can join him, you can ask him questions live when you're a client at WagerTalk.com. And that shortcut again is WT.buzz/VR. Vegas runner Gianni Greek-Grant joins us on Saturday for college football and then Sunday here for the NFL. All right, speaking of the NFL, we got our NFL expert, the Prez, and this is a historical moment in Wager Talk TV, I just realized, Prez, because this is the first time I've ever interviewed you. And it just occurred to me because we've done so many shows together, and it's pretty surreal, and it's very fitting because we just broke the internet on Tuesday with the greatest Wager Talk Today episode ever as well. So if anybody did not see Tuesday, September the 24th, I believe, go back and watch that replay. It was a fun one. Trash Talk Tuesday. We're going to trademark that, right? And that's going to be the new theme for Wager Talk Today, my friend.
Oh, yeah, I wish. What a segment with you and Gianni. Your questions, you were amazing, Steve. And Gianni is so full of information. It boggles the mind that only 10% of the viewing listeners have taken a second to hit that like button. I mean, this guy literally explained in great detail why you shouldn't buy half points, how these teasers work on a percentage basis. This information is absolutely gold. And yet only 10% of the people hit the like button. I don't know, man. Should I wake up next Sunday and do this show again or scrap it? Because
no joke, Prez. I mean, and to put this in perspective, within that 10-minute segment, he just gave you 2 tips that'll probably take a recreational player and cut their losses in half. Just stuff they shouldn't be doing. That's how you win. You win by not doing stuff that makes you lose. That's a good starting point. And we basically told you when to play teasers a very small amount of the time, if you're even getting the right juice anymore. And then just don't buy a half point at all. And I'll add on
Yeah.
to it, by the way, something I didn't mention is just have a second or third sports book so you get a half point for free by shopping lines, so it's just so much basic
and
stuff.
Teddy and I spoke about this recently on our show, especially with the Dallas game. That you could have found Dallas for -4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. Guys betting 50,000, 100,000 a game. None of these guys are ever losing by half a point, ever. It just doesn't happen.
Well, if they do, everybody else lost by a full point, right? If they do lose by half a point,
right?
Because they still got the best of the number. Yeah,
it's extremely rare. And yeah, look, 50 people just hit the like button. Come on, guys. None of us need to ask. Anyway, I'm not here to lecture you people, but it was just I'm listening to Gianni and thinking, man, like, this stuff is incredible. One of our listeners wrote, Gordon, and Gordon, I really appreciate you coming in all the time in our chat room. Real big fan of Wager Talk. Thank you. He's like, I've got a 4-team 5-point teaser. Does that make sense? The answer is no, Gordon. And then he's like, well, does a 3-team teaser make sense? And the problem with answering those questions is, Steve, you made an incredible point. Who's teasing 6 points on a game with a total of 63?
correct.
A 3-point teaser at a game that's got a 30-point total is the same thing as a 6-point teaser on a game that has a 60-point total. So these totals are definitely relevant to whether you tease a game or not. And in regards to, is a 3-team teaser a good teaser? I don't know. What's the percentage? Is it a 3-team 6-point teaser? What did you cross? Right. What are the totals in that teaser? What is the percentage chance of a 3-team teaser winning versus what the return on investment that you are getting? So, these are, what do I do if I have kings and an ace flop, Steve? I don't know. Is the guy does he fold big cards? Is he aggressive? What happened last hand? What happened pre-flop on the betting? I mean, there's so many variables that you have to take into account when making these decisions. None of the stuff is isolated to, should I, is a 3-team teaser going to win? But I will leave you with this, and then we'll get into the games. If you ever buy a half a point, you made a mistake. And that's black and white. Black and white. And there's no number. There is no half point that you can buy that is worth paying for, unless there is one time, Steve, if you're getting, 7.5 plus 105, and you can maybe get it down to 6 to 7, 115, still technically a bad bet, but a hell of a lot better than normal. And with that said, those don't even come around. So let's move on.
Well, and real quick, that goes back to something you've heard me say all the time, too. You have to be honest with yourself before you even start betting, or at the beginning of the season, at least. Are you doing this for recreation? Or are you doing this to really, like Gianni, to have a mathematical edge and make money? Because you're going to lose more games at -7 plus 0.5 than you're going to win at -6, -125, or whatever it's going to be. But that might still be the better long-term edge, right, mathematically. And same thing with the 3-team teaser. You might have a better edge there, but you're going to lose more games with a 2-1 day where you would have broken even with a bunch of round robin. You know what? You got to be honest with yourself also. Are you going to play consistently some of these NFL dogs on the money line? Teddy talks about that. He does a little bit of a round robin. It's the one time he does round robin parlays is if he likes a lot of NFL underdogs, he'll do a small money line parlay for trying to have like a lottery ticket, basically. But once again, be consistent, be true to yourself, and don't overcomplicate it. Sides, totals, straight bets, that's all I'm using, man. And you and I are both having great seasons at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, prop bets are normally a losing proposition as well, just by conceptually, especially if you're looking to take the overs in prop bets, over yardage, Kelce over yards, Pat Mahomes over touchdown passes. Right. On a whole, you're paying 10 cents, give or take, extra just on the over on those prop bets. But most prop bets by nature are, hey, listen, Steve, you walk into Best Buy, You walk into Best Buy, you buy a computer, they offer you a warranty. The answer is no. Anytime a person trying to sell you something like a sports book offers you a deal, it's no. Let's get into some games, bro.
Sounds good, my man. Make them earn those likes they just gave you here during this 5-minute segment. I like it. What are you looking at, man? I'll throw it to you. What are you looking at in the NFL? What do you want to talk about?
Well, firstly, I'm happy to talk about every single game on the board. The game that fascinates me the most is the New Orleans Atlanta game. Here we have a situation, and Teddy and I spoke about this privately on the phone a few days ago. I really like Atlanta here, and I'm calling Teddy, and I'm like, man, Teddy, I really want to bet Atlanta. I feel like they're the better team, and I think they're going to win these games. This game. But the question is, how good was New Orleans in the first two games and how bad were they in the second game? Who are they? And what I like about this game is that I'm laying off of this game. I'm not betting it because on one hand, I could make a really strong case for Atlanta, but on the other hand, I truly don't quite know yet who this New Orleans team is. And those are the type of examples of when to lay off plays, where you have a good feeling about a team like Atlanta, but you look at this and you say, are they, it was like the Cowboys. I wanted to bet the Cowboys so bad at -5. And I laid off of them at -5 because I had asked myself the question, who are the Cowboys? Are they a team that the Giants can run the ball down their throat all game, play small ball, keep this thing close, maybe win it on a final drive? This is a perfect example of a game that I would pass on. Now, I spoke about Cincinnati recently, and people could say, yes, that's a similar type of thing. I like Cincinnati. I'm betting Cincinnati, by the way, today. And people are like, well, who is Cincinnati? Maybe Cincinnati is not as good as they are. Maybe Carolina is better now that Dalton is in. I like the Cincinnati team because I want to bet teams that come into the season with playoff aspirations and then struggle if they have done that before. And this is a team that has done it 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, they come out of the gate like shit, and then they get their act together. So, that's sort of the dichotomy between Cincinnati and Atlanta. I don't quite know who New Orleans is, but I do think Cincinnati has defined themselves after the last 3 years. And I feel like where Atlanta and New Orleans, I haven't decided on their market positioning yet. I look at Cincinnati and I think this is a really good team that has come out of the gate struggling, playing a team that is shit that had a great game last week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've taken a step further. It was a backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, who had a nice game. And can you imagine what this line would have been a few weeks ago had Cincinnati been considered one of the best teams in the league, hadn't struggled a bit, and we all knew Carolina was going to be awful after week one again. This line's more than a touchdown. So it was ironic because Cincinnati's the most public play this week on my consensus data, but I'm in no hurry to back the Panthers. I had the Panthers last week. I thought that was a spot. I took a chance with Dalton. He played well, but I'm not ready to say he's like the next coming of Brett Favre or something in his heyday. Let me ask you, Prez, real quick on a game we haven't touched too much on. Somebody asked when Gianni was on earlier if any sharp action was on the Niners. I think he mentioned he did have some sharp action on the Niners. What are you doing with this game? New England, San Francisco. It's 10.5 at most spots now, 10 minus 15 at others as you check the WagerTalk live odds screen. We talked about 3 and 7. 10 would be the next number I'd mention, though, is a very key number. But once again, if this was a college football game, I'd say bounce back city, baby, on the 49ers. But the NFL is a different animal. How do you feel about laying double digits nowadays in the NFL? I mean, when I came up 29 seasons ago, I never did it, but I'm a little more inclined to do it now.
So funny you said that, Steve. It actually is reverse of what you just said. Since the beginning of time up until 2 years ago, it was 61% across the board on teams laying 10 or more. So it used to be an incredible bet to take these huge double-digit favorites. In the last 2 years, it's around 38%. So it's actually turned against the double-digit favorites, and I think we see that because of a lot of parity. With that said, 27-3 is the score that I kind of see in this game. I have no issue if you take San Francisco minus 10.5 at all. I like the under in this game a lot. I like the under in the New England team total as well. And I slightly lean on the over in the San Francisco team total, but there's no reason to bet that. The way I look at this game is really straightforward. We saw San Fran lose 3 games in a row last week, around week 3, 4, 5, give or take. And then they bounced back and went all the way to the Super Bowl. I think the San Fran team is absolutely exceptional. Sure, they're missing players, but Kittle is coming back, and that's a huge, huge add. And I look at this New England team, and I think to myself, there's just no chance they are going to put up more than 16 points. I don't, and honestly, they're not even going to get close to that number. San Fran has got to be angry as hell, and this New England team just can't score. Now, I understand their defense is great. So are the New York Jets. I mean, how much better a defense is New England than the New York Jets? I don't know. I think the New York Jets are probably slightly better at D, and San Fran moved the ball up and down the field on the New York Jets. I do not want to play against a team as good as San Fran after such a horrible loss last week. And I certainly don't want to play on a team as bad as New England. No matter what, Steve, in order for them to cover 10, they are going to have to put up at least 1 touchdown. I mean, they're not holding San Fran. This game is not ending 10-3 or 13-6. San Fran is going to get theirs, and they're going to get over 20. So I like San Fran here minus the 10.5. I like the under the best in this game, and I like New England team total under. You're muted, Steve.
I'm sorry about that. I was going to say, I want to touch on the Eagles game with you. We've got a couple minutes remaining here on Wager Talk Last Call. If you're liking this, folks, as Prez said, thumbs up, like. If you're watching and you're still watching, you must be liking. So, boom, do it. You did it. Good. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts so you don't forget when we're on live at 11 a.m. Eastern Saturday, college football, noon Eastern Sunday. Also, Wager Talk today, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern. So we've got live shows 6 out of 7 days at noon Eastern. Don't set it and forget it, but hit the bell just in case. And Prez, we do have a question in the chat on that Eagles game, Eagles-Tampa Bay. We have not talked about it yet. I do have a standalone video for those that want to watch it right after the show for a little bit of a deeper dive. But what's your take on Philly at Tampa? Currently, they're about a 1.5 point favorite. And something I mentioned in the video, I did it Friday. I was like, how's this tropical storm hurricane going to affect things? It did kind of pass through, but I'm sure that was tough for the Tampa Bay families and players down there.
Steve, I talk all the time about what is a team. How do they define themselves? The Pittsburgh Steelers under Mike Tomlin and, frankly, Bill Cowher. We're talking about 30-year definition of a team that wants to win 13-10 every time they go out. They want to run the ball. They want to slow the game down. How do they define themselves? As a stone cold freaking under. I only want to bet teams where I understand who they are and what they're about. I don't feel like anybody can come on to any show with some definitive definition of who Tampa Bay is and who this Philadelphia team is. We loved Philadelphia last year. They were a monster for the first 10 games of the season, and then they hit the skids. And now we are confused, and everybody should be confused. We have a coach who is incredible at scheming plays and horrific at game management. We have a coach who I don't think their players like playing for. We have a new center who's struggling to make the tush-push work. We have 2 wide receivers that are out. We have a team that has gone from play action pass to running. We have so from a Philadelphia perspective, who the hell knows? From a Tampa Bay perspective, we have a defense that is good and then bad and then good and then bad. We have an offense that is good and then bad and then bad and then good. They're old, yet they're young. They have superstars, but they're ancient. They have a quarterback who is really, really good and puts up 4 touchdowns and then the next game can't complete the pass. Why would anybody bet on a game where both teams have not defined themselves in any way whatsoever? Can I say, yeah, take Philly? Guess what? I got a 50% chance. Take Philly. Take Tampa Bay. Go ahead. I don't try. That's just not how I function in the world of betting. I bet to the definition of teams. I will be on the under in Pittsburgh from start to finish and right all the way to the end of the year. I will be looking to bet the overs on, teams that play to the over. I want to bet teams that define themselves. Neither of those teams have a clue what they're going to do today. Not a clue. That game could end up being 31-30 and 13 or 13-12.
This is Adam Trigger saying he's passing on the Bucks and Eagles. Oh, wait, it's the Prez.
I had to mess with you. I passed on games. I got 6 bets going today. No, that's it. 6 bets, Steve. There's 16. There's 13 games, totals and sides on each. I mean, there's a lot of bets available to be made, bro. I got 6.
But you could actually get some information when you are passing. You did do that there. And one thing you pointed out is the Eagles. Don't forget, this is a team that started 10-1 last year, went 1-6. They're now 3-7 their last 10 after going 10-1 their previous 11. So we also have a lot of uncertainty there in Philly and Tampa as well. We're going to get to one more game before we let you go, Prez. First, want to thank Florida Sal. He just saw on the screen there. Made a $1.99 donation. That was on YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts. Don't forget about us there. Thank you, Florida Sal. And thank you for the Philly and Bucks question as well. And really do appreciate the support on TikTok. And Paco Healy's finishing it off here on the regular YouTube channel. Paco's one of our loyal viewers. Prez, could you please touch on that Bears game? And that is the Rams-Bears. And I mentioned this in my Fade the Public video this week, Prez, that the Rams are the most public underdog. Red flag alert. And I, don't blame people for fading the Bears as a favorite. Their offense has looked horrendous so far with Caleb Williams. But then again, the Rams, despite beating the Niners, have been really bad defensively still. So does Chicago finally get healthy offensively, or does it just not matter? Could the Rams actually slow them down?
I like Chicago here, Steve. Again, look, going back to who these teams are, I think we have a fairly decent understanding of who LA is without half their players. This is a team that's in decline, and it's a shame because I'm a huge fan of Matt Stafford. But here you have a situation, Steve. And when I'm looking to make bets, and Marco talks about this all the time, I'm looking for these situational plays. The Rams started the year with a playoff revenge loss against the Lions. So from an emotional perspective, this is a team that came into the year with a very high emotional level. They were very focused on winning that game. Then they had 2 back-to-back division games. So here we have a team that for 3 weeks in a row rode a high emotion base. Now they're playing Chicago. And no matter what, their emotional level is going to drop. People always say, how do teams look ahead? How do teams look behind? Why do sandwich spots work? Why can't teams, when they play one game a week, give it their all every single week? I play hockey every Tuesday night. I know it's beer league hockey, but when we play a shit team, we play worse than when we play a great team. And when we're excited about a game, we play better than when we're not excited about a game. And I promise you the LA Rams are not nearly as excited about this game as they were last week playing San Fran. And as for the Chicago Bears, this is a team that put up 26 first downs last week. 26 first downs. That is an impressive number. They also threw the ball over 300 yards completion. And they are slowly coming together. But what we know most of all is the Chicago Bears defense is really, really, really good. And the Rams defense really sucks. So here we have a Chicago Bears team who could start the season 2-2 and put themselves in the mix. They have the better defense. They're at home. They're off of a game where they lost, but finally started to play in sync offensively, playing against a Rams team that's coming off 3 emotional games, that is riddled with injury, that has maybe the worst offensive line in all of football and no defense. Take the Bears.
I'm with you there, Prez, and I do think we fade the public here with the Bears. And as you mentioned, better defense. I like the stats you gave there about turning things around, maybe offensively. Maybe that was the buy sign after last week. And not a good scheduling spot either for the Rams. So I did think this is one of the better fade the public spots. So Prez and I, a little free play on the way out on one of these early kickoffs here at 15 minutes. We both like the Bears -3. And if you check the Wager Talk Live odds screen, the sharper books are lighting up right now, -15, -20. The more square books are still 3, -10. So I think we're on the sharp side as well as we fade the public in that one. Prez,
I just want to say I laid.
Yeah.
I bet the Bears. I personally bet the Bears. I got them on the money line at -135. That is a much better bet than -3.
Well, so people know it's -160, 165 now, so they're not going to find that, but that is a great bet, obviously.
So -160, -160 against a -3 is the cutoff number. They are basically equal, as Gianni was explaining, but -165 is a worse bet than -3.
And of course, it's now juiced to 15-20. We're seeing -165, -170. So that's probably break even as well when it's 3 -120 or whatnot. Prez, you'll be here Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, live with Teddy Covers. And let people also know what you got going on at WagerTalk.com this weekend.
Yeah, dude. Well, firstly, I'm deep into some hockey handicapping. I've been studying the hockey teams for hours every day for the last 10 days, give or take. Hockey starts eminently. So I'm super excited about the hockey season beginning. As for today, I have 6 bets up for my clients. I have a 4% play. It goes tonight. And you guys can use, I have a promo code. And even if you miss the 1 p.m. games, I'll still have packages going throughout the day that you can use my code for. And that's Game Day 10, Game Day 10. You get $10 off of my NFL package. And if you guys have never purchased an NFL package from me, if I put it out as a complete report. So I actually give you analysis on every single game on the board. We're talking about probably 4 to 6 pages of information that you guys get. There's at least a paragraph to 2 paragraphs on every single game, plus my 6 bets, plus my circa bets. And Steve, you know what? I'm gonna give my circa bets out right now. Carmen and I are in the circa together. We have Atlanta, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and the Cleveland Browns. I don't love all 5 of those bets at all, but that's all we can find.
Well, you would still be leaning that way, though. So people that are doing their own handicapping, that's a nice little filter there. And by the way, these shows, the free play videos I did, the Fade the Public, we're not giving you like best bets in these all the time. And like Prez talked that Eagles-Bucks game did. We're giving you filters. We're giving you information. And we hope that's what you're finding most useful here on Wager Talk TV. And if you are, hey, once again, thumbs up like. Thumbs up like helps keep all this great content free and plentiful here on the channel. And you can check out the Prez also at WagerTalk.com. WT.buzz/LP, as in long play, LP, Lawrence Pressman. I am Steve Merril, filling in for Kelly Stewart. She'll be back next week. Joe Ranieri in the studio producing, throwing all the questions up there. Thank you to Joe, and also thank you to all of you that were watching us live here. And don't forget, you can watch these shows 24/7 on replay. And if you're joining me later in the afternoon, my 2 best bets did not start early. I've got a late afternoon, 4 p.m. best bet, and then also a strong Sunday night best bet on the side between the Bills and Ravens. I did do a free play video on the total for that game, and also the not my Washington Commanders, maybe one day my Commanders. Daniels is looking good against the Cardinals. Free play late afternoon video as well here. So click subscribe, click that bell as well for instant alerts, and my NFL Fade the Public video is still here on the channel as well. Check out WagerTalk.com. I forgot to mention a great special. You've only got about 1 day left to get 3 months and the 4th month included for free. That expires on October 1st, which is this Tuesday. But why delay? Get on board now. Get the next 4 months. Football, the rest of baseball, a good chunk of basketball, and also hockey. That starts Friday as well. Buy 3 months, get the 4th month free. It's a $2.99 value instantly. You can check it out on my page or any other capper. No promo code needed. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And check out the daily free plays also at WagerTalk.com. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned here to Wager Talk TV. There's more great free betting content coming up next.